The last thing we're going to do for this project is to add a shadow to each of the layers that we've created in our document. Adding a drop shadow will give a little more contrast to the buildings and the trees that we've pasted on there. It'll make them stand out and the whole thing won't look so flat. So to do this, let's select the layer that we want to affect. In this case, it's going to be our middle tree, and it's on Layer 10 Copy. The next thing to do is to go down to the bottom of our Layers palette and look for a little icon that has FX on it. And we're going to click it once. This will give us a pop-up menu, and we want to select the Drop Shadow option. With it selected, it'll give us our Layer Style pop-up box. And notice on the left-hand side that Drop Shadow has a checkbox, and it's got it selected for all the options for the Drop Shadow. And you can see there's a lot of options we can change up with it. The main thing we want to work with is the distance, the spread, and the size of our drop shadow. Let's look at what happens when I change up the distance by clicking and dragging the slider. Watch the tree as I change up the distance number. As I drag it out, you can see the drop shadow will change back and forth depending on whatever distance it is from the tree. So that's what that slider changes up. The spread of it changes, well, it's really difficult to see. Let's work on the size of it next. The size actually changes up how big it is and how fuzzy it can get. And the spread changes up how big and fuzzy it is, spread away from the center of it as well. So depending on how fuzzy it will be, you adjust the spread and the size together. What I want to be able to do is to set our distance down to 0, and let's change our size to about 40 pixels, and our spread, let's bring it down to 10 pixels. So for each one, we're going to set our distance to 0, size spread to 10%, and the size to 40 pixels. We're going to hit OK. We're going to repeat this process for each of the layers that we have created. So on Layer 10 Copy 2, which is our other tree, got it selected, go down to FX and hit Drop Shadow. And again, the distance, I can select this number and type in the number 0. The spread is going to be 10, and the size will be 40. And it looks exactly the same on this one. We'll hit OK. Let's watch as I go through each of the layers and add a little drop shadow to each one. And there we have it. All of our documents now have a little bit of a drop shadow behind them, which allows those buildings to stand out, and now it looks more like a real cutout picture. With it created, let's go up to File and down to Print. Choose the color printer and print it off on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.